It's one thing falling in love with a house, picturing yourself moving in and calling it home, and quite another navigating the world of price negotiating, mortgage lenders, and finding the budget that works best for you. An agent who's a Realtor can make understanding that world easier. Realtors have the expertise, access to proprietary data, and tools to help you get from imagining living somewhere to actually doing it. That's the kind of help we can provide. Because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Meet the next generation of podcast stars with SiriusXM's Listen Next program, presented by State Farm. As part of their mission to help voices be heard, State Farm teamed up with SiriusXM to uplift diverse and emerging creators. Tune in to Stars and Stars with Issa, as host Issa Nakazawa dives into birth charts of her celeb guests. This is just the start of a new wave of podcasting. Visit statefarm.com to find out how we can help prepare for your future. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You are tuned into The Library with Tim Einico, rapstation.com.
I've never really had a religious experience in a religious place. The closest I've ever come to seeing or feeling God is listening to rap music.
What's up? I'm Tim Einico, and welcome to The Library on rapstation.com. Have you ever took a moment, sat down, and wondered, if I were to create a soundtrack of my life, what songs would be on it? Felicia Pride, an author, educator, and founder of the strategic media and communications firm Pride Collaborative, did just that in her latest book, The Message: Life Lessons from Hip-Hop's Greatest Songs. I had the opportunity to sit down with Miss Pride. Here's part of my interview with her.
I guess one thing I really appreciate about this book is that you weren't stuck in just one era of hip hop. You go from like you stuff in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. So when you were writing this book, did the tracks just come to you, or did you kind of have to like research them as terms of like, well, I'm feeling this way, let me find a song that might, kind of work with how I feel and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was definitely an organic process. It was like twofold. It was one, I wanted to have a diverse selection of artists represented. So sometimes it would be a matter of, I really want this artist to be in the book. Let me find a song that I can glean something from. Or it was thematic or topical, where I was like, I really want a song, in the love section. I really want a song that deals with familial love, or that deals with, stepping away from love, or whatever the case is. And then I would do it that way. But I had this huge spreadsheet where I I started out listing all the artists that I wanted in the book, and not all of them even made it, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
And I always say, if people were to write their own version, it would be totally different songs, because 100+ songs, when you think about the body of hip hop music, is not even scratching the surface.
Right.
But I had a spreadsheet full of artists, and then I had, songs that I wanted, and I would have multiple songs from the artist, and I picked that way. And it was definitely an organic process, but my goal was try to make it as diverse as possible from a standpoint of artists. That meant, style, sound, geography, gender. I mean, I try to get as many women as possible, but I still feel like I didn't get enough. And then themes, the breadth of themes that the music has touched upon.
And I was going to ask this question a little later, but you mentioned women artists. Was there, while you were doing this book, was there a disappointment for you to not have as many women artists to write about? I mean, in the message, did you see that there was kind of a lack of positive, influential female artists, or I mean, how did that work out for you? Or maybe there's something else behind it. But I mean, did you see that are there more women artists that you could have included in the book, and it just didn't work out that way, or?
Yeah, so you didn't have to be positive to be in a book. You just had to move me in some sort of way at that moment with a specific song that could fit into this puzzle.
Right.
So, for instance, one artist who's not in the book is Missy. And I tried really, really hard to find a Missy song. I like Missy, but at that moment, I could not find a song where I could glean a lesson from that would fit in the puzzle. So Missy's not in the book. And so from that standpoint, I definitely am disappointed that I wasn't able to include as many women artists as I would have liked. Like Foxy's not in the book. Tried to find a Foxy song that gave me the type of lesson that I was looking for at that time and couldn't. Maybe now I might be able to, which is interesting too, because of how in my own life my soundtrack is fluid.
Right.
But yeah, at that time I couldn't.
I actually want to go into one song that actually, it's one of my favorite songs, and it's one of my favorite songs because it actually, it touches on like women empowerment. It's the Coup wears clean drawers.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, when I read your piece on it, I noticed, I was like, oh, I was like, that's dope. She included that song, but too, I was like, oh, it's what I love about the song is just like it's all about empowering his daughter.
Yeah.
And like the line with like, you as a woman have to know your place. It's in the front, baby. I mean, blunt, baby. Which I really like. So I wanted you, if you can you just kind of discuss why is this important? Why is this song important to you? What did you learn from it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's such a touching song, but it also reminded me so much of like my parents and you want the best for your children, but you also just give them practical advice. Like my mother, I remember her very well saying, giving me that adage that you want to wear clean drawers because for God, God forbid, and you end up in the hospital, that's not a good look. So like that was the reasoning. And I accepted that and I ran with it and I said, okay, that makes sense to me. And so I just think it's so interesting that, I'm not a parent, but there's no manual on parenthood. At the end of the day, you want the best for your children, but you also want to help them move in the world on different levels. You want to help them move in the world on a very practical level. You also want to help them move in the world on a philosophical level and an abstract level and in a really, really touching way. And then also showed this side of hip hop, the side of fatherhood, the side of fatherhood with girls. And there's other examples of that, but I thought that was such a strong one.
Man, can I get a little scratch right here? Man, can I get a little scratch right there? My boogie baby, now the world ain't no fairy tale, and it's ran by some rich white scary males. To make it simple for you, let's call them the bosses. They take money while the people take losses. Stole black folks from Africa to work for free, and we still barely get paid enough to eat. That's what I told you I be saying in my vocals. That's why the woman got the gun on the logo. The star is the future that we gon' create, where nobody steal money from the things we make. The revolution take time and space, but you as a woman gotta know your place. That's in the front, baby. I'm being blunt, baby. If they get mad, say it's their time of the month, baby. Your face is just like the sun when it raises. Thank you for adding beauty to my phrases. Handshakes are promises, lies can spoil it. Words should be bond and sealed. Wash your hands after using the toilet. Brush after every meal.
Speaking with Felicia Pride, she's the author of The Message, Life Lessons from Hip Hop's Greatest Songs. One of the themes of the book, and we've discussed this, is you talk about finding wisdom in music. So another one of my favorite songs, and this is Jay-Z's "Where I'm From." So I always liked the song because I always thought it was a great depiction of what goes on in underserved communities. So what was your takeaway from that song?
Yeah, I definitely think that's a great depiction, and I think that's the wonderful thing about songs too, is that we all can have our own interpretation. For that one, it was this idea of place, and place is so important in hip hop. Home is important in hip hop, and for me, I always kind of felt, it was important for me to also sort of represent a place, represent a home, and that was Baltimore for me. And thinking about the narrative that is, publicly known about Baltimore, publicly shared about Baltimore, whether it's true or not, was on my mind at the time and wanting to think about this idea of representing, but also, wanting more for this place that you call home, and also recognizing your place in that. Is it, is representing enough? Is it enough to just represent, or should I be doing more? So that song makes me think about a lot of those things.
So where you from?
I'm from a place where the church is the flakiest. Looking, they've been praying to God so long that they atheists. Where you can't put your vest away and say you wear it tomorrow, cause the day after we'll be saying, damn, I was just with him yesterday. I'm a block away from hell, not enough shots away from straight shells, an ounce away from a triple beam.
And I want to continue, of course, in Baltimore's with, and this question includes, a hip hop artist, DMX. So as you mentioned, you picked a single track, not an entire album. But sometimes, I feel like sometimes you can't fully understand the single track without knowing the entire album.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, a great example of this is DMX's first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, which I've been listening to for like a week straight. And I think the great thing about the album is that DMX really like takes you inside to who he is. You kind of understand his demons a little more. He plays on contradiction really well. And I have to give you a lot of credit for actually being able to pick out one song from him, Look Through My Eyes. So I was wondering if you could kind of discuss, was there a difficulty in trying to, like, knowing the entire album of any of these songs and only picking out one track? And then also, can you tell your the personal story behind the track Look Through My Eyes?
Yeah, sometimes it was difficult to pick a track, not because I felt like it would not have enough context, but if it was the best song to pick from the album. more like that type of debate. So I didn't fear that there wouldn't be enough context, because one thing that, even though I wrote this for hip hop fans, so I was very clear that this was for people who were fans of hip hop. A lot of people read the book who were not fans of hip hop, and my idea was like, well, you have to sort of do the work a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like how the artist will lace references, and if we really want to be down, we have to do the work to understand more what they're talking about. So it was kind of like, okay, if you don't get this, maybe you need to listen to the song, or maybe you need to listen to the album. Like, this is sort of an entry point for you to go further. So I was okay with not providing complete context, because I wanted people to do a little bit of digging. The Look Through My Eyes, now I'm trying to remember what I wrote about this one. Was this one where I was talking about for him, this idea of context. And I think that with hip hop in general is that a lot of people don't provide context for it as a complete entity. They'll pull out one aspect of it and just run with that. And in my own life, I realized that, as people and as humans, we dehumanize ourselves, we diminish ourselves when we don't provide fuller context, when we, try to make us very black and white when we're not black and white at all. We're complicated, we're messy, and, really wanting to step away from judgment and try to consider or imagine or even just accept the fact that you don't know what's going on in someone else's life. You don't know what brought them to the place that they are now. So really trying to be careful with judgment when you don't have full context.
That's part of my interview with Felicia Pride, author of The Message, Life Lessons from Hip Hop's Greatest Songs. To hear more of my interviews, tune in Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, on rapstation.com. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Library with Tim. That's at Library with Tim. This is Tim Einenkel, host of The Library, only on rapstation.com.
Judge not, that should be judged first.
Look through my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, and know why I dirt the street.
Burning in hell, but don't deserve to be. Cause I don't even know that when I murder me, just because they heard of me, and they know that the dark is for real, the bark is for real. When you see that spark, it'll kill. People about park it and chill. Take it over there, walk with it. From Mayo to Cali, Baltimore, back to New York with it. Come through flying, up 129, up the school street, cause I come through mine. Bark at my dogs, get at me, huggin'. Get at me, huggin' with the dear lips. Never forget what real is. The cat that used to say X is the best, no, he still is. Can't help fearless, putting goosebumps on your arm. Take it there if you want, but I lose chumps with the bomb. The calm before the storm. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it's getting warm. Feel me, yo.
Look in my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, then know why I dirt the street.
Yes.
Look in my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, then know why I dirt the street.
I can understand why y'all niggas are scared of me, and why the big dogs never wanted to play fair with me. Cause I leave blood wherever I go, wherever I flow, wherever I blow. Niggas who know I can go, feel me, yo. What is it about the dark that gets niggas when they about to spark, about to bark? Take it to the heart, cause it's real like that. Give them chills. How do I make them feel like that? This shit is real. What you don't know is gonna get you with the steel. What you don't know is gonna split you. I can blaze tracks, make niggas play racks and raise stacks, pay back some. Didn't you used to say that? Play around in dirt, you get mud. Cause you know I can either spread love or shed blood. And bloodshed turns the mud red and real sticky. Or I can hit you from the roof, make it a quickie, for real.
Look in my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, and know why I dirt the street.
Yes.
Look in my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, and know why I dirt the street.
I bear my soul, niggas wouldn't dare. My role gives against the heart to go, but with a hole. Lost all control, my shoulders hold a lot of weight. Just like first I'm sold the eighth, then told it's not an eighth. But then it's out of state, and it's too late for changes to be made. That's what I get from fucking with strangers in the shade. This is it, yeah, niggas got to give me a plate. For the same reason that fate chose to give me the weight. Take away hate, now I'm supposed to love the one that cursed me. The one that wouldn't give me a cup of water when I was thirsty. It was always him versus me, but now I gotta teach him. Personal feelings put aside, cause now I gotta reach him. What I'd like to do is turn my head like I don't know him. But it seems like I've been called on the show, so I'ma show him. And if you've never met me, then you've no right to judge me. You got a good heart, but this heart can get ugly.
Yes. See what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, and know why I dirt the street.
Yes.
Look in my eyes, see what I see, do what I do, be what I be. Walk in my shoes, hurt your feet, and know why I dirt the street.
Feel the pain, feel the joy of a man who was never a boy, for real.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a realtor can help answer. Because realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
When your space has the long-lasting, noticeable scent of Air Wick Vibrant Essential Mist, you'll be inviting everyone over. From barbecues to girls' night, the kids can even host their friends.
Whoa, it smells amazing.
Air Wick Vibrant Essential Mist is infused with 2 times more essential oil versus regular Air Wick Essential Mist for our most authentic, nature-inspired fragrance experience. Air Wick Vibrant Essential Mist is perfectly portable and effortlessly easy, the way fragrance should be. Now that's a breath of fresh Air Wick.